Hey guys, it's your boy FFXIV, and I am here now with a brand new letter from Naoki Yoshida, the producer and director of Final Fantasy XIV, talking about those PvP balance adjustments, and really what the methodology behind them was, what the plans are to address them, and so much more in this article. As someone who loves PvP so much, to say the least, I am heavily invested and heavily interested in this, and so let's get right into it. But first, I need to ask you, if you want to help support me in my content, I would super incredibly appreciate if you considered hitting that like button harder than they smashed Black Mage with those buffs, because damn, it's a cat daddy, that subscribe button. So Yoshi P is starting this article hot out the gate and says that yeah, in terms of Black Mage changes, they probably did go a little bit too far, and that there are going to be balance concerns being addressed in patch 6.15, which will be released on Tuesday, June 7th. And so now we finally have a release date for that. And so likewise, that's going to include a whole bunch of things like the Arcasadara Beast Tribe, the Hildebrand quests, but also these PvP changes. So the article starts off with Crystalline conflict balance changes, details, and schedule. Yoshi P starts this section off by saying that he's so happy that so many players, including those who previously distanced themselves from PvP gameplay, that would be me probably in there too, but that we've been enjoying Crystalline Conflict, which is something that I genuinely enjoy. But allow me to get on my soapbox for one quick second, please. PvP hackers and bots, you know what? They aren't in every single game, but they are more and more prevalent, and that's undeniably a huge problem in the PvP ecosystem in Final Fantasy XIV. I don't know who exactly is downplaying it, but I do think that it is quite awful that I can queue into competitive matches and then I have people magically dodging limit breaks and doing a whole bunch of crazy stuff. You can apparently cancel out limit breaks and everything. We have a very big hacking problem in PvP, and I really do hope that that gets addressed soon. Sorry, I know that that is early in the video and I want to focus on the article, but I need to get that out there because I need the message out there, because I really genuinely love PvP, but damn if that isn't the biggest cock block in the world right now. So the first subheader in the Crystalline conflict balance change is talking about job win rates. Long story short is that the development team does keep a lot of statistics on what is going on with the jobs, what skills might be too overpowered, and that they do investigate into these matters, and they're just like, okay, this job might be a little bit too strong on this, and so we're going to tone it down a bit. Or the jobs that have a lower than 50% win rate are also treated similarly, and that instead of just like tweaking it, they like try and just like enhance the unique attributes in a way that kind of, as they put it, organically improves chances of victory. Rather than just slamming potency on, there you might be considering something like maybe even an example from the Black Mage's recent buffs is they doubled the duration of the Astral Fire or Umbral Ice effect. So it originally was 15 seconds and now it's 30 seconds. That would be something that I at least would consider like organically unique to that job. That helps a lot. Finally, they close this off by saying, at the end of the day, we hope that PvP matches are decided based on players' knowledge of jobs, both their own and their opponents, their strategic execution of offensive and defensive actions, and their ability to understand and adapt to teams with which they are randomly matched. And stating that going forward, of course, they're going to be looking into balancing it as much as possible. Not to beat a dead bot, but the bot is still alive. Ding dong, the bot is still alive. Someone help. We really need hackers to be addressed in this too. Please, please, please. I get it, not every single player is hacking, but when one does, oh my god, is it tilting. Now the next subheader is talking about job usage rates. Just like the last point, they go into saying that they collect the statistics, they compare it across the different game modes, and that essentially this is something that they do look a little bit into, but they did clarify that unlike the stance on win rates, they don't really care about the rates of job usage because it does naturally fluctuate between player preference. But if there is like an extreme bias like what you are probably seeing right now with Black Mage, they are looking into it because it might really be a symptom of a greater underlying balance issue. They close this section off by saying when a job seems significantly more or less palatable to players that that they review the player feedback and engage in matches themselves to really investigate any issues in maybe like fundamental mechanics of a job. But that even in doing so, that they really want to preserve each job's individuality when applying changes, such as introducing comparable weaknesses to jobs that might seem really distinctly advantaged while bolstering those that might need support. Which, to say the least, is something that I really appreciate in PvP, is each job really does feel distinct. It's just like the Sage feels very different than the White Mage, which feels very different than the Scholar. And I mean, we talk all the time in this community about homogenization of the jobs, but oh so incredibly rarely have we actually seen them as fleshed out as we do in PvP. So this is actually something that I super appreciate, and I'm sure that many more than me just appreciate it. Now the third point is talking all about the balance change schedule, and that there is a lot here, which honestly I do want to take the time here to explicitly highlight that they said that the developers were working until Friday, May 6th, but that the developers actually chose instead to work to the wire, including Saturday, May 7th, and that they were just trying to give the most comprehensive update possible, which to the developers, if any, watch my videos, which of course I don't think they do because I'm not like that big or that important, but I commend them. I really respect that they put in the effort, they put in the time and care, and I really hope that they don't feel really demotivated by community reaction, because I do think that the heart is obviously there, the soul is obviously there, the passion is there. I just think unfortunately the Black Mage changes were very too much, unfortunately led into this backlash, which they basically are going in the balance change schedule. Like, to sum it up and maybe not even do it as many favors as it deserves, is they were considering that, hey, we were gonna like launch this really early, this would be really great to our players, yet into 6.11a, but the reality is that they were just like, okay, this actually didn't go well, it kind of blew up in our faces, we should have probably done it for 6.15, which is unfortunate. I hope that they're not demoralized. But what this translates to is going forward that it might take a little bit longer to get the balance changes, but that they are going to just try and do more testing and try and make sure that there's no fluctuations that are like too egregious going forward. Now it is time to talk about the Black Mage, which, as everyone knows, Yoshi P loves Black Mage, and for good reason. Black Mage is factually a beautiful, amazing job and a crazy good archetype through all of the Final Fantasy games. It is iconic. Like, I remember reading 8-Bit Theater as a kid, and it was like this little pixelated comment, and then you have like the Black Mage with the like little yellow hat above them. Like, it's iconic. It is factually one of the most iconic jobs in the entire genre. To mention big spells, like, who can blame someone? It's amazing. I, however, suck at Black Mage because positioning, I like my mobility, I like my freedom. Otherwise, I would totally be on the Black Mage train 100%. But basically, and this isn't what's obviously stated in the article, but Yoshi P was accused of being like, oh, you are just being biased towards your own job and all this and that. And some people actually took it way too far. So basically they're saying at like the bottom of this like point here is like, this is not trying to be preferential treatment, like oops, like this went a little bit too far, got out there. Now the actual explanation is kind of like at the start of it. I think that the bottom point is important to emphasize before I talk about anything else. Basically, they were talking about things that I myself experienced when I was making my PvP tier lists and stuff. Black Mage has cast times. Black Mage is squishy. Black Mage can easily be burst down. Like, their limit break, if like, peace and love, hackers are all over the place, and they are like automatically targeted, and they have been for many weeks now, automatically targeting me and bursting me down as soon as I start my Black Mage limit break. I don't get a chance to experience that limit break because all of these different hackers just immediately all in me, and it's like, well, damn. And that never felt good. Not that we should be balancing around hackers, obviously, but the point that I should be stressing, it might not be going through, is Black Mage is very easily punishable. I remember myself playing Dragoon, jumping on the Black Mage, smashing them into the dirt, and being like, ha ha ha, should have thought twice before taking a spellcaster into a, honestly, melee fight, or for machinist, you know. Obviously the devs looked at that and they're just like, this is actually a problem, this is not good, Black Mage is suffering. And for me, I saw the potential of Black Mage, but it was just not good. It was still not good. It was nowhere near A tier, and I don't think that anyone could be taken seriously that's just like, yeah, Black Mage at the launch of Crystalline Conflict was as good as Dragoon. What? No one was saying that. At least no one that I would give any credibility to in this. I don't think that they even hit gold. Actually, maybe not even the silver. This brings us to our last big point, which is balance adjustments to jobs in Frontline. Start out by saying that, yeah, most of their resources were dedicated to Crystalline Conflict, the new PvP mode, and unfortunately, that some jobs have been a little bonkers in Frontline. Summoner, White Mage. They didn't say that in the article, but you know that's true. Summoner and White Mage in Frontline is crazy. What they're doing here for Frontline is a two-pronged approach. Is first of all, Frontline is going to get its own individual balance passes, which obviously is going to tone down problems, Summoner, White Mage, and help other jobs. But the second thing is that they're also going to be changing the limit breaks, and they're basically like, you know what, the amount of limit break gauge you get should be dependent kind of on how many participants are on the field. And so that might mean, from my interpretation of what they said here, some of them might be faster, some of them might be slower, but either way they're definitely looking into tuning it specifically for Frontline. What this all is going to really translate to is that they are going to be seeing some patch changes in 6.18. Remember, that's the big one, bringing data center travel. Oh lord, we've been waiting for that for years. That is a big 6.18 is a big number for us in the community. But also that they are looking at Frontline changes also in patch 6.2 and beyond. What they do want to like end this post on in terms of what I'm seeing here for Frontline is that they want to make it so that Frontline still is casual large scale battles. They don't want to lose that large scale individuality. Here I am reminiscing about how I complained about like the Frontline being like they have to have 72 players because it used to have like a smaller cap on it, and I really preferred the smaller cap, and I'm like, darn, but you know what, I get it, that's a fantasy people want, and rightfully so, it's cool. Lastly, as I always say, the Final Fantasy XIV advantage is Yoshi P apologizes and like thanks everyone for their interest in PvP and that they are really trying, and it's just really transparent about the entire process, and that's something that I will always say I appreciate in our devs, is they're transparent and they genuinely care. Anyhow, take care everyone and have a absolutely fantastic day. I love you all so much.